Hi, welcome back. So, in this section, we are going to talk about aggregate values and average values. So, what is aggregate values and what is average values? So, I just opened a new worksheet and I connected to the same data that we were talking about, the superstore. So, let's pull up the sale value right there. So, if you see, you have $2.297 million in our total sales. So if you see, this is the sum of sales that we are having. So in Tableau, we can actually add more and more data by right clicking and say, okay, hi, I want to have a new created group. So let's say I want sum of sales. I can just say sum of sales, and this is where you basically write your formula. So let's say I have sum of whatever is the column I'm writing at, like say sale. So this is my sum of sales. So in this case, the function that I'm using, if I can double click that, you basically get what returns returns the sum of all values in the expression. Sum can be used on numeric fields. So this is very important on how do you want to basically use sum in your calculation. So as you can see here, there are a bunch of functions which you can basically segregate based on different things. Like you can say, okay, give me all the number functions. So these are all your number functions, and you can kind of get an idea about what it is, or how it basically can be used. You can have ceiling and floor, and these are all not standard functions that you can get in your other values. So if you want pi, you can have 3.14 min and max of your sales will give you the maximum and minimum of your sales. So so that at a high level is kind of what we are looking at from a calculation standpoint, right? And similarly, you can have date functions. You can convert data types. Like for example, if you get a date, then you can extract only the year from that and kind of do certain calculations. So stuff like that. So for now, let's say we want to have sum of sales, and I click apply and click OK. So you get this equal to sign right before that hash, which tells you that it is sum of sales. So let's say I drag this as well there, or I can drag this here, and I can basically drag this here. So if you look at the data, so I have sum of sales, which is what I calculated, and the sales, which is what Tableau calculated. So if you look at this sum of sales or sales, these are the two different values the way I'm calculating. How do I differentiate? I can see this AGG function right there, which tells me that it is aggregated by me but not by Tableau, because I cannot change any of the data type in this. If you remember, if I have to do anything, I have to basically edit it. So I can write, how do I edit it? I can right click and edit in the shelf. I can say sum of sales, or I can basically say whatever formula I have. So, or I can go right there and say edit calculated field, and I can click on the sum of sales for me to get that sale value. So this is one option I can do. Or if I want to edit it, right click here and say edit, and it will basically bring me the exact same thing. So these are two ways. And but if you can see the existing ones, because these are measures which are defined by Tableau, you will be able to break them down, for example, into average, right? So I have a total sum of 229,000, sorry, 2.29 million, with average sale of $230. So if you add my, let's say, the order date to the mix, so you can tell in 2011 we had our average sale was 243, but in 2014 we have average sale was 221. And if you add the number of records, that basically tells you how many orders we got during the same period. So if you add it, so it tells you that though the average sale price is going down consistently, your number of records are consistently going up, which means your number of sale value, or your number of sales, is going up. So for example, you want to kind of edit this value, or you want to basically kind of see sort it. So this is again the way of sorting the data. But if you want to right click on that and say, and you can basically view the data right there, so you can see how many records are in each of those, and you can this is the underlining data, which was exactly the same data that we all saw earlier. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is you can see how the number of data elements are there and stuff. And if you can right click, you can see here this is sum and this is aggregated value. And let's say during all of this I also have my profit, right? So let's say I want to add a new profit column, a new calculated field, which I will call as cost price. So my cost price ideally is whatever sale I had minus my profit. So ideally that should be my cost price, right? When I subtract my when I subtract so this is my let's say cost price or something, and I click apply and I click OK. I have a new another column, and I can keep adding more and more columns to the mix for me to tell. I can go just look at the data for now, but I can basically number of records, and I can basically tell lot of different values. So if you can see, the cost price is going technically up over a long period of time, and this is the number of records. If you can see, you can right click and say edit, and if you click edit, you can see what it is each record is considered as one. That's the reason it is adding up. So what is happening here is we as well can add something called orders, number of orders, or something like that. Let's say we can do number of orders. So, and you can say apply, and it's basically it's hard coded value as one. So when I just want to show you this one. So when you look at this red hyphen right there, it basically means that it is going to have an error while calculating the value. So because we didn't really specify anything. So in this case, let me put a hard coded value of 1 and just say apply. If you see, the calculation is valid, that's what it says, and when you click add, it is fine. So when I click the number of records and put it right there, I'm going to get exactly the same as number of records because I have one record in there. So but let's say I want to also consider number of returns. We will talk about that in our joins section, where we will take the number of records, and if the order is returned to us, then the number of orders should be decreased by 1. So that's where we will talk about how joins work and how we can use that data. So right now, as I told you, averages is very important, and aggregations, level of detail, as we talked about earlier. Aggregation is where you can see this AGG function is what we are doing. Average is how average is being calculated. So you can basically format it the way we want. We might want it to be formatted in a percentage manner or in a standard. Let's say we want it in a standard format. If you can see, the average is going up because the moment you say standard, it's going to drill down very heavily. So you might want to do it as percentage, or basically whatever values you want, you can basically format it accordingly. So that's about averages and summations, and obviously we can look at the graphs as well. You can just click it on the graphs and see how things are. But yeah, edit access, independent, apply, and I want 0, and you can this kind of tells you a better picture. So that's all with the averages and summations. Thanks for watching.